on our transition webpage in case you'd like, other people who weren't able to participate today can see the presentation. So I think at this point, Gina, do you want me to run this little clip here at the bottom?
Sure.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our presentation today. Let's start with something fun. Take a look at the next slide.
It's a little bit quiet.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say good morning, everybody. I'm Gina Miller, and I'm part of the transition team. And I wanted to start with something a little bit fun today. So if you can take a look at this slide, and let's do the instructions together. I'd like each one of you to choose a number between 1 and 9, any number between 1 and 9. Once you have that number, I would like you to multiply that number by 3. Then I'd like you to add 3 to the number that you just multiplied. And then we want you to multiply it by 3 again.
Gina, you may need to unmute yourself. Oh, there you did. Okay.
Okay. Add the 2 digits of the together, the 2 numbers that you just got, and let me know where you're going to, where you're traveling. Sorry, Marguerite. So let's take a look at the chat. You can type your answer in the chat when you tell me where you're going. Kathy, you going to Paris? Really? Michelle's going to Paris?
Wow, what number did you pick?
Yeah, I'm jealous of those people too who are going to Paris. But those people who are going to Paris obviously didn't do it right. Pavel's going to Cuba. Okay. All right, looks like we have the majority of people on. If you did this little quiz correctly, if you pick any number between 1 and 9, multiply it by 3, add 3 to that number, multiply it by 3 again, and then add the 2 digits together, you're going to get 9, which meant stay at home. Okay? So that was just a little piece of fun. 9 times. So thank you for playing. And let's go to the next slide, please, Buffy.
Wait a minute here.
The arrow?
Yes, there we go. Got it.
Contents. Introducing the team. Purpose. Methodology. Findings. Conclusions. Questions and answers. Please be advised that this webinar will be recorded for future review and available from the transition team or from the Christ Church Riverdale office. It has been a great pleasure to partake in the design, collection, and analysis of our Christ Church Riverdale Congregational Survey. I am happy to share the results of our survey with you, our church family. Take a moment to remember the online survey, which very many of you completed back in late January, early February this year. With the help of technology, we are able to compile those answers into a concise and detailed report to present to you digitally. The discussion of the trends and themes of our congregation's answers to the survey will solidify the direction of our church community and has established the strong basis for a newly created church profile for potential rectors. This church profile will also be shared with the congregation in the next few weeks. In the best interest of time, we will present all the findings in entirety. If time permits, we will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the presentation. We will try our best to answer as many questions as we can, but if we do not get to your question today, we will forward you a response by email or phone at a later time. Introducing the team. Since December 2020, I have had the distinct pleasure of working with some amazing church members on the transition team project assignments. I would like to take a moment to introduce the team to you. Michelle Disco, our phenomenal team lead, Pastor Tyler Jones, our spiritual leader, interim pastor, and guide for the process, Dr. Jeffrey Douglin, vestry liaison and church profile architect and designer, Kathy Valier, vestry liaison, stewardship and website design construction consultant, Elizabeth Buffy Weeks, Altar Guild liaison and website design, construction, and applications consultant, Damaso Paretz, vestry liaison and survey and statistics co-consultant, and finally me, Gina Miller, survey designer and statistics co-consultant. Purpose. The purpose of our survey was to investigate the following things. Who are we as a whole body of Christ Church Riverdale? How do we worship? How do we give back? What do we like in our church community? What can we improve or change as a community family for the future? And to determine what kind of person we would like to join us as the spiritual leader of Christ Church Riverdale. Methodology. The survey was administered by SurveyMonkey software and distributed via email from the existing information on our church database to approximately 130 people. The responses were also tabulated by SurveyMonkey and analyzed by the transition team. We opened the survey on January 24th, 2021, and closed the survey on February 7th, 2021. Findings. Who we are at Christ Church Riverdale. We are a diverse community made up of white, Black, Hispanic, and Asian people. In addition to English, of those who answered, we speak various other languages at home, such as Spanish, French, Haitian Creole, Japanese, German, and Swahili. From our respondents' answers, we are 67% female and 27% male. A small percentage preferred not to answer. We mostly live in the Northwest Bronx area, Riverdale and Kingsbridge. However, there are some of us who travel from outside of the 10471, 10463 zip code area, like Yonkers. Some of the very devoted still worship with us from places far and wide. Our age group tends to be over the age of 50 years, retired with predominantly 1, 2, and 3 persons living at home. How we worship. Overwhelmingly, most of our church family was introduced to Christ Church Riverdale by a friend or drove by and saw the sign saying all are welcome, in addition to family members, website, or social media notifications. The majority of our congregation has been with the church 20 plus years. Strong numbers indicate growth over the past 3 to 5 years, attributable to Father Andrew's tenure, plus a trickling of newcomers in the last year or so during the COVID-19 pandemic. To those new members, we want to say thank you and welcome. Our current Episcopal Church community is a cluster of those coming from other religious faiths. Before attending Christ Church Riverdale, we have parishioners who were previously members of the Catholic Church and other Protestant faiths, such as Baptist, Congregational, Lutheran, Methodist, and Presbyterian. How we give back. As we all know, there are many different ways to give of ourselves to God. Of course, there is the financial support, but there are other ways such as time, community service, charity, and administration. Here's how we supported Christ Church in the past few years. Overwhelmingly, most parishioners who responded spent less than 1 hour of their time for the service of Christ Church or to other service organizations, charities in 2019 and from December 2020 until present. The foundation of Christ Church Riverdale lies on the rock of our strong financial support. We donate anywhere from 1 to 10% of our funds to our own church and to other charities or churches as well. Our recent survey responses reflect the generosity of members, with 41% giving 5% of income or more to Christ Church Riverdale. Thank you. Capturing the attention of a new rector requires a strong financial foundation that will allow us to pay our bills while preparing for the future. Okay, hopefully you're enjoying this presentation. And right now, we'd like to know, what do you as a parishioner enjoy about Christ Church Riverdale? So this is a way that you can interact now in the chat. We'd be happy to hear your responses right now. So if you can type your information into the chat, we'd be very happy. I'll give everybody a few moments just to type it in. Doesn't have to be long, just a little bit. Great, so we're getting great answers here. Fantastic. Wow. Love it. Love some of these themes that are coming through. Joy, music, community. Fantastic. That's exactly what we're all about. So if everyone has finished, we're going to move on to our next slide. So Buffy, if we can resume. Thank you. What we like in our church community. We are happy to report that Christ Church Riverdale is keeping people spiritually content, and the vestry is doing a great job of the things they do. 100% of those who answered the question, "Would you recommend Christ Church Riverdale?" said yes. Additionally, when asked if Christ Church Riverdale is adhering to its mission statement, the majority of us said most of the time and always. 3 of the most important things that keep our church family coming back are fellowship. We actually like hanging out with one another. Faith and spirituality, and of course, our music. We like coming to Sunday services, either in person or online, and many of us participate in or support extracurricular programs associated with parish activities, both before the pandemic and during it. Adult choir, altar guild, needlework ministry, social justice ministry, recycling, Daughters of Bethany chapter, the Order of the Daughters of the King, just to name a few. What can we improve or change as a community family for the future? No doubt about it, this past year's events have taken a toll on our resources, bodies, minds, and souls. We have lost loved ones, experienced illness, lost employment or businesses, and literally had our worlds turned upside down. Christ Church Riverdale has not only been a place of refuge for our community, but a place of growth for the future of the world. Many thanks to the dedicated individuals in our church family who has stepped up to make Christ Church Riverdale thrive as a pillar of strength during troubled times. Our beloved vestry wardens, Marcia Callender and Naomi White Randolph, Deacon Ella Roundtree Davis, James Oyango, Sexton and Verger, Mary Osman, Children's Ministry Coordinator, our new interim rector, Tyler Jones, our interim organist, Marcus Catilla, and our technology specialist, Tara Nachtigal. Our survey was also used as a tool to gather some suggestions on how we might make our church community a better place for everyone who visits and worships with us. Here are some of the key words or ideas that were suggested that could foster improvement. Notice the larger words in magenta, purple, and blue. We would like to see more current day relevancy in our sermons. We want to hear more beautiful music. We can't wait to get back to our in-person services. We miss our traditional worship. And most of all, we would like a new permanent rector and music director. What kind of person would we like to join us as the spiritual leader of Christ Church Riverdale? When we ranked the responsibilities of a rector, we placed the highest importance on 1, preacher, delivering inspiring, engaging, and relevant sermons or homilies. 2, spiritual leader guide, feeding and nurturing the spiritual needs of the congregation. And 3, pastoral care, providing care and counseling to the members of the congregation community in times of need. The 5 most important qualities of a rector our respondents chose, not surprisingly based on the people that we are and the rector we just had, were A, caring, B, sermon delivery, C, outgoing, D, progressive, E, pastoral care. We highly emphasize the importance of growth for our future church community with continued maintenance of our beautiful church grounds, inclusiveness of all members in the decisions which concern the church, and of course, a strong financial standing to fulfill our needs and obligations.
Okay, so we're going to have another interactive chat, guys. Let's answer this question. What do you feel has been Christ Church Riverdale's best strength during the pandemic? We'd love to hear from you. If you can just type those answers in the chat, we'd be very happy to hear from you. Thanks. Awesome. We're getting some great answers here. Thank you. So we're getting things such as virtual services, hybrid services, keeping our doors open, Zoom calls, ongoing worship. Really great feedback. Thank you. All right, this looks great. Again, we want to keep you on your toes. Make sure that everybody is listening and absorbing. Thank you for participating, everybody. Okay, Buffy, I think we can go back.
Conclusions. Several themes came up throughout the compiling and analysis of our survey data. The most resounding were the following. Diversity. Among all the themes, this was the absolute #1 word or phrase reiterated over and over. Communication. Open and honest dialogue between the vestry and our parishioners, between the Christ Church Riverdale transition team and parishioners, and ultimately between the rector and the parishioners. Strength of our church community, our history, our current time, and the hope of leadership for the future. Inclusion or inclusiveness. Although we are open and loving, not everyone plays nicely together in the sandbox. The future of our community strength lies in the total inclusion of every member of its body. Strong traditional church. We have strong traditional values based upon traditional Episcopalian background, even though we tend to be rather liberal in our socio-political opinions. Fellowship. We love to play and socialize with one another at church and outside of the church, as demonstrated through our multicultural and diverse extracurricular offerings. Openness and transparency throughout the transition process. Our church family is eager to hear about the search process, the status of the search, and genuinely interested in knowing how we are doing. And lastly, gratitude for the Christ Church Riverdale transition team performing their duty. Well wishes, prayers, and encouragement from you to us. Thank you for your trust and support. As our team mandate, all of the answers compiled from this survey have been incorporated into a new, fresh document called the Parish Profile. This document, after review by the vestry, will be sent to the Episcopal Diocese for addition to our packet for a new rector search. Stay tuned for another presentation of this document in the next few weeks. This is who we are. This is who we are. See us for our beautiful minds, our differences in culture and language and skin tone. We are strong-minded with gentle hearts. We live life according to God's will, and we spread love. We celebrate joy while comforting pain for our brothers and sisters within the church and outside of it. We are Christ Church Riverdale. Embrace us. Questions and answers via chat. If you have any questions regarding any of the information you have heard today, please feel free to type your question in the chat now. We will try our best to answer all of your inquiries, but if we don't get to your question today, we will forward you a response by email or phone at a later time. Thanks once again for participating in our survey presentation. Please continue to stay healthy, safe, and sane. We look forward to seeing you back in church very soon.
Okay, that was our presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, I see a couple. We'll take care of those. All right. So let's see where we can go. Whew.
I'm going to look up Roberta's question. Do you want me to read out other questions?
Yeah, if you don't mind, so I can see them and hear them. And if I can't answer them, I'm going to pull somebody else in from the transition team who would be helpful in answering. So,
okay. And people are able to unmute themselves at this point?
Yes, you can unmute yourself now if you'd like. So I think Roberta is saying, can you share what was the 5 lowest features we wanted in a rector? Okay, we're researching that one for you, Roberta, and we'll get back to you in 2 seconds.
So I have the information right now if you want to hear.
Okay, sure.
It's world traveler, informal low church, conservative, introspective, and pious.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
Okay, and Marguerite says, much of what she reviewed reinforces what I suspected or thought, which is good, and likely what others thought as well. But learning surprises were good. And what were the surprises? There really weren't any surprises to come to seeing. We are who we are. We're pretty straightforward. We like to play with one another. We like to socialize. We are strong church individuals. Everything that was said in the survey was what we reflected to you. So basically no surprises.
There was one thing that I hadn't expected, but I think it's a sampling issue, is how many people were in the over 70 group. But I really think we did not get as many responses from people who are younger or who have children. And it's more a reflection of that than who is in the parish.
Yeah, not that we object to over 70s.
No, not at all.
Does Roberta, do you have a hand up? I see like a little Zoom hand.
No, I was probably trying to clap.
Yeah, she's
okay.
It's clapping. And there was a question from Linda, were parishioners who do not use technology able to submit a survey? And yes, they were. We did have some paper surveys that went out to the congregation, to people who could not get on to the computer. And we collected those. Actually, Damaso actually talked to some folks and helped them to return their reply. So yes, they were part of that 116 that replied.
It was very good, successful.
You're not unmuted, are you?
I am muted.
Oh.
You are, you're unmuted.
Hear you.
Are there any other questions? Anything that anyone else would like to know? And I wanted to say thank you to Mary. I didn't have a picture of her up on my screen, but she was up there. And I did have a picture of Denise, and I didn't have her in the text. So my apologies there, but thank you for all those people who do work for us.
There's a question from Robin.
Okay, Robin.
It's in the chat.
Has everyone ever tried questions of those who might be less connected as to what their reasons are? Can you clarify that for me? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Robin, are you there? You can unmute yourself.
He may be wondering why some of those people did not respond, and we didn't make a concerted effort to reach out to people because we don't know who did respond and who did not. It was anonymous. So, yeah.
How many families did we report in our annual parochial report?
Oh, no. No.
Hey, it's Robin again. I accidentally muted myself and I didn't mean to. You had asked the question, to elaborate on mine. My apologies that, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So what my question meant was, I was saying that domestically, globally, people are fleeing churches. And I think that it's important to find out why. Why are people, who are fleeing churches? Why are people, not attending the local church that they at one time affiliated with. I think there may be valuable information in terms of finding out, the people who participate regularly, obviously things are working. But I just always wonder what is missing that those don't feel, as compelled. And I don't even mean just connection to the church, but I mean connection to Jesus Christ, both of those.
Thank you. Those points are well noted. Michelle, do you have?
That's a really good question. And it's a really good question how to capture those people too, because obviously the people that we know how to reach are the people who are attending our church. I think that's a good societal question overall, even if it was outside the scope of this particular survey.
I think about making something,
Florence is...
Couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
I think
mute her.
I'm done.
I think that there's been, am I muted? No, I'm not. I think to that question from Robin, Father Andrew did a tremendous job of outreach when he noticed somebody was fading away, and would call. And I think that's, one of the reasons that we sustained such amazing strength throughout his time. In fact, we built as a congregation, and it's certainly a quality sought in a rector, somebody who will do that sort of proactive outreach, not just waiting for somebody to say, I'd like a visit. And he was good at that. And we can certainly hope that we will find somebody who will be good at that. I think that in the course of our other activities, Damaso with the survey, for example, or in stewardship. I mean, we have various initiatives that depend on broad participation. And in the course of talking to people about those various programs and needs, we do start to hear. We did learn that the pandemic and the virtual nature of our community over the past year has taken a bit of a toll. I think what's stunning is how well we've stayed together, considering how easy it would have been for us to fray. But we've really done amazingly. That the survey responses were very strong.
See you with your head.
So, we don't have a single programmatic answer, but I think it's, just as we love fellowship, it's in our DNA to be reaching out to each other.
But I think Robin's question is sort of the church at large, not just Christ Church Riverdale. Because if you look at numbers, I mean, there's a sort of steady decline in people who affiliate with some kind of religious entity. And the Episcopal Church in the US has been part of the issue that the numbers are declining. But I think, as far as our survey is concerned, I mean, as Michelle points out, the people who are connected are the ones who get the survey, the ones who respond to it. So we're sort of, like preaching to the choir. We're getting the results from the choir, basically. But that's a whole other issue, is looking at the broader church and how we expand it or how we retain people. And certainly that wasn't part of the scope of this exercise currently.
Bob, does Bob Abbott have something to say?
Yeah, the question about the number of people in the parish, it's 391. That was the report on the parochial report.
Is that people or families? I think the
families.
I think families is half that number, maybe.
Yeah. Total communicants in good standing is 391.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Linda, do you have a question?
Yeah, it dovetails on the number that Mr. Abbott just gave. So what percentage responded to the survey? 170, was it? No,
we had 116 that responded, but they basically went to 130 different emails. But then we also sent about 10 to 12 paper
10 to 12 paper
surveys.
Right. And people, and we followed up with phone calls to those paper people.
How many people responded?
116.
Okay, that's what I was curious.
About 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Good. During
Because the adults are 333, the children are 58 in your count.
Okay.
The 333 is the adults.
I love numbers.
Very good.
That's a really good response rate. Yeah.
Yes.
40 is considered a good representation.
Yeah.
You were pleased.
I think so. You're right.
So thank you all. Thank you all for taking it.
Is there any other discussion that we like to present here?
Oh, I just want to say that presentation was visually very well designed. You know, I like the charts and the graphs and the colors. It helped me understand the data really quickly. So thank you so much for that. Nice work.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, or we appreciate that.
Thank you, Gina.
A lot of hard work.
A lot of work.
Of course, we're going to be sending you another survey to see how you liked this survey. Okay? For that.
That's good.
Hey, it's Robin again. Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask, I imagine part of this is going to be done. So I'm not saying that, you know, part of it may sound naive, but I'm just, you know, asking. But at what point in the search process, when I guess, you know, the search is like narrowing to a smaller number of people, maybe not even the final number of narrow, say, you know, there were 5 and then it's going to go from 5 to 3 or 5 to 2. But in which of those categories would potential new rectors be able to, like, you know, meet with congregants, you know, so that they can ask, you know, questions, you know, of the potential rector as well. So I guess what I'm asking is, would it be like only at the very, very final stages, or might there be like one before that? Because when one goes to, say, hypothetically 5 to 3, you know, I'm just curious, you know, why were those 2 eliminated? You know, maybe they wouldn't have been eliminated if they would have had a chance to talk to people. I'm not saying that for sure, but that's what my question is.
So the process is, I see Pastor Tyler. So you
Yeah.
can correct me if, but the process is that we will take in the initial, the transition committee will take in the initial responses and screen through those and submit a larger list to the diocese. Then they approve and, you know, can enter into any negotiations with anyone who's from outside of the diocese. So they'll return that list to us and we'll narrow it down to a much smaller group in the 5 or so range. And at that point, the vestry becomes involved. There's not a point in the process where the general congregation interviews or asks questions of the candidates. We'll present that final list and the vestry will vote on the candidate that will offer it to. And a lot of this also has to do with the confidentiality. A lot of the candidates want to keep with their current parishes. They don't necessarily want to let the rest of their parish know if they are in the final search process somewhere else.
But everyone's invited to the installation, so that's not a problem either.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I wasn't thinking about the confidentiality, but thank you.
And now you know why Michelle is the chair of the transition committee. That was 100%.
100%. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. It was wonderfully presented. Wonderfully presented. Really, really a work of art, easy to understand, and obviously so much work went into it. So thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Do we have any other comments or questions from anyone else? Okay. Well, I guess we can wrap this up. Thank you so much for attending, for listening, and for playing our little games. And we will see you, hopefully, next
you at
Sunday
home.
at church.
See you at home.
At home. Exactly. And welcome back, Pastor Tyler. Glad to have you back.
Yeah, we're
okay?
glad you're back. Yeah.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you,
Bye,
everyone. Have a great Sunday.
You too.
You too.
Take care. Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great job, Gina.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Very nice. And look, we have all of us. We'll I'll send
Good,
it.
still on. Good, good, good. You know what? I'm trying to save this now. I want to make sure I get everything in the chat.
I think we got everyone. I want to save it. Oh, and I need to stop recording.
Good.